Sunless Sea is a weird marriage between visual novels and adventure games. In this game, you control a ship and see how much damage you can inflict on your mental state before you yell at your pet or order a large pizza to eat your sorrow. You will die a lot, you will read a lot, you will cry a lot. But you will definitely come back to play it some more. It is one of those games that shows duality of man. I love it, yet I'm afraid of it. It is slow paced, but you can lose the game very quickly. It has a vast open world, but you will most definitely die at every corner. It was built by a team of people who made a browser game, remember those? Called Fallen London. And if you follow the lore of the browser game, the great city of London gets shanghaied from the UK and wakes up in a huge cave amid the sea called the Neath. Rumor has it was the bats who stole the city, please don't ask questions, for a crime committed by the queen who sought to prolong the life of her lover. And for that reason, the common folk now hate the royal family. Kinda like the real world, right? In this game, we sail the Z as the Z captain. Yes, Z, not C. Which is how the developers wanted to tell you they were Nazis. But I will spare you this nonsense. You play as a gender-fluid novice captain who wants to make it big and achieve his grand ambition that we can choose. Retire at the ripe old age of 25, finding your dear old dad who went swimming for a pack of smokes, gather a collection of 100 memes and write an article for Kotaku, establish your mushroom kingdom, or become an immortal son of a bitch. Sounds easy, right? Sure. So, after the audacious double Brexit, Fallen London is now a port that will start your journey. Now you just have to... You've probably picked up on the steep learning curve of this game. That much is true. It explains absolutely nothing about your potential next steps, and this is kinda scary. It should be, because the main gameplay mechanic in this game is built around, are you ready for this? Reading. Let me give you a piece of official statistics. This game has 300,000 words. Whoa, wait, stop, don't close the video, I can explain. Okay, easy there. Have you ever heard of choose your own adventure genre? This is what this game is. You find an island, enter its port, choose the dialogue option that seems right to you, and then it takes you further, or it kicks you out. Or even kills you if you're careless with your choices. Sounds boring, but believe me, there are lots of people who are into trains or truck driving, so why shouldn't shipping be less enticing? It is absolutely phenomenal when you're sailing with a bunch of goods and only two sounds can be heard. Your trusty engine and waves hitting your ship. If you like comfy games, this should be your top priority to play next weekend, because it's quite a time sink. Let's talk about the basics of the game to get started. First, we choose our main goal in the campaign and our past. This option will give us a boost to our skills. I recommend choosing a poet, because pages are a pain to obtain. Then we make up a gender for ourselves and we're good to go. Now, where to begin? First thing I suggest you do is to sell your manual for money and pick up passengers to Wenderbite. This will be your very first sailing experience across the sea to earn some pocket money. On your way there, be sure to visit Hunter's Keep to get additional supplies and some other resources. When visiting Hunter's Keep, you notice that aside from obvious supply resources, you hear some tales. What is that? Well, that is a hidden gem of Sunless Sea. Across your adventures, you will be sure to encounter something called knowledge curiosities, like Tales of Terror, Siri Enigma, strategic information, your browser history, and port reports. Be sure to collect those, as they will definitely come in handy. Most of them can be sold for money, you just need to find where. Aside from knowledge curiosities, you can find ordinary items that you can sell on the market. What's interesting is that different ports will buy different items, so you will have to actually take out your legal pad and write down every port's desirable items. The list is too long to keep in mind, so it's better to keep that information somewhere nearby. For example, the best place to sell outlandish artifacts is in London. Yes, the British are at it again, stealing artifacts from least developed nations to build more museums. I guess the name Sea of Thieves has already been taken, so that's why it's called Sunless Sea. Anyway, the ports are indeed numerous, and the Neath is vast and tricky. Tricky because every time you restart the game, the location of almost all ports will change. For example, in this game I got lucky and Salt Lions, which is a location that will help you earn money in early game, is located really close to London, making it a perfect trade route. But in another game, it's gonna be somewhere else. That's why you will have to explore the entire map again to find it. Let us see what ports we may encounter. An island where everybody is going postal, literally. A snowy monastery with endless supply of fresh meat, don't ask where your crew members went. An island of pirates whose king is a literal tiger, so a tiger king. An island where everyone is donning masks to become anonymous, they are legion, believe me. A whole city full of Mongoloids. No, really, they're from Mongolia. An island of monkeys. By the way, did I mention that for some reason China is never mentioned in this game in any way or form? A place where hamsters and rats wage war on one another over an artifact. Sounds like a sketch from Family Guy about Palestine and Israel. Let's see you find two-state solution here. Literal hell where all the YouTubers go. A very cold place with lots of squatters you can't legally kick out. So it has to be Sweden, right? A place where you can't use English very well because it mixes up all the tenses. A perfect haven for ESL people. And so on and so forth. The game is huge, and if you find your sea legs, it will become an instant classic for you. Now let me tell you something about your ship. You know what I like about you? You're smart. So I don't even need to tell you that a ship is the most important tool you can have in a game about ships. But just for the sake of good order, let's talk Ship 101. Unlike in real life where too many things demand our attention and you've probably been ignoring them your whole life, here you need to be concerned only about 5 things. Your crew, the amount of food you have, your fuel, your hull, and terror meter. Food is self-explanatory, it's something that your crew eats when you sail. But when you're moored to an island, your food and fuel are not wasted. Fuel is self-explanatory, it's something that your ship eats when you sail. Wait, did I say that before? No, it can be. Anyway, fuel is used in sailing, yes. But let's say you're in a pickle and encounter a very strong enemy that you can't fight. In that situation, you should know that you can escape by pressing F and that will put your baby into overdrive that will save your sorry ass. It does, however, tend to blow up your engine to a comical effect, but that's worth it, right? Crew is very important, because if your ship has less than 50% of its crew, you can't go at full speed. On the other hand, if you have 100% of crew members, they will eat more supplies, much more. That means you'll be spending more money on them, so my advice would be to find a balance between 50 and 100% of necessary manpower. You don't need 100%. They don't give you any bonuses. And they also become a food source when you're hungry. Hull is something you'll start to appreciate when you first get into combat encounter with monsters or pirate ships. They will be easy to dispatch, but they will damage your hull, and that will bring you closer to a game over. You can repair your hull at sea for 5-to-1 ratio of supplies. Not really effective, should only be done as a last resort. Just repair it in London and you'll be good to go. Judging by the speed of my boat, you've probably guessed that this game is the very definition of slow burn. It fits excellently with some other background noise like a podcast or a 10-hour video essay about Pokemons. Dear Lord, millions of years of evolution, and this is where we end up. When you spend some time at sea, you get a ding with a notification that something awaits you in port. That means you will get a random encounter each time you spend enough time sailing. There can be positive, negative, and neutral encounters based on your luck and port where you decided to moor your ship. These scenarios can be quite lucrative, so you shouldn't just autistically sail towards one specific port, you should visit other places on your way. I mean, what's the rush, right? The game is slow as fuck. Oh, and you know what else is slow? Terror. It will slowly gnaw on your sanity and bring you closer to game over. You start at 0, and the moment you sail away, it starts piling up. The more terror you have, the more nightmarish scenarios you will encounter. If the terror meter goes up to 100, it's an instant game over. And when you're close to 100, you will start to seriously trip balls, imagining tulpa girlfriends or killing your crew members for fun. And what can help you fight the terror? Well, first of all, your lights. They slow down the terror accumulation, so you will have more time at sea to explore. And when you return to London, it brings down the terror to 50 every time. Phew, I think that's all about ships, right? Oh shit, I almost forgot to talk about the DLC. But I feel that even developers might have forgotten about it, because it has less than 100 reviews on Steam. I wanted to bring it up here because it adds one redundant feature to the game. You can now sail underwater. That's it, that's all it adds. Well, there are new ports and enemies as well, but no new features. But let's talk about enemies instead, yeah? Sunless Sea is a crab fishing simulator set in a fictional country of the United Kingdom. Wait, I already did the intro. What am I doing? I should really stop sniffing gasoline. I feel like I repeat myself too much. Initially, when the game was still fresh, the developers used turn-based combat, but they realized that it made their game super boring and no one would buy it. It was the reason I dropped it for the first time. But these days, when you play Sunless Sea, you play it with real-time combat that isn't exactly high-octane, but at least it's thrilling enough to get your blood pumping. First thing you should know is that there is a detection radius. If you sail with your headlights on, you're out in the open. Enemies will see you easily and rush to attack you. Conversely, if you decide to switch off your headlights, your terror meter will start going up faster than you can sail of Craftian. By the way, did you notice that I didn't use this word once in this review? That's the mark of quality you can expect from me, my delicious friend. Anyway, if you engage your enemy in combat, it's time to introduce them to your red rockets. I mean rockets, just rockets. Combat itself is extremely simple. You shoot your weapon and wait for your weapon to reload, while holding your enemy in the sights, otherwise the cooldown will stop. Generally, there are exactly two strategies I can impart onto you. Get behind them or stay away. Getting behind usually works best with enemy ships. Like you, they have to keep you in their sights to shoot torpedoes. But if you get behind them, you're in the clear and can fire away until they sink. This, however, does not work with wildlife. Creatures like bats, jellyfishes, sharks, crabs, lifebergs would love to snack on your crew, which is something you have in common, my tasty friend. In case of these creatures, you need to put your engine on reverse and blast them away with all the firepower you have, because they are much more aggressive and dangerous than your rival ships. As I said, combat is very clear-cut and easy to get the hang of. Now let's talk about something else. Quests and port encounters are where RPG elements raise their ugly heads. And I say ugly because the game is absolutely merciless to your character if he has low stats, which you will at the start of the game. There are 5 stats in total. Iron increases the damage you deal in combat and makes your cock bigger. Veils is the skill of subtlety and evasion, so it's a skill for cowards and French people. Mirrors is the skill of detection and perception, so the more you have, the more autistic you become. Hearts is the skill of healing and morale. It's also a suit in cards. And Pages is the skill of knowledge and trickery. It helps you level up faster, so it should be prioritized every time. Speaking of leveling up, secrets are the skill points you use to upgrade your stats. You get secrets by filling out this meter with fragments. Fragments are, for the lack of a better word, experience points that you earn by discovering new points of interest on map, killing wildlife, or earn them in cities. Your crew officers are responsible for leveling you up, so don't forget to enlist them onto your ship. They don't count as crew, so they won't eat into your supplies. But beware and don't spend all the secrets, because they also count as currency in some places. It's almost impossible to be proficient in all skills. Certainly it would take a long time to make it so. Which is why it's a guarantee that you will fail skill checks time and time again, and that will encourage you to sail away and then come back with improved stats. Just take a breather, give yourself some time, and then come back to snuff out a cigarette on the face of that nasty skill check. It takes time. What's great about this game is the amount of options every opportunity can present you. There are dialogue options with skill checks, required items, required companions, required finished quests, and so on. Every encounter has a potential of being unique if you just happen to have an item like Candle, or the right companion who knows how to solve a riddle, or a successful skill check that brings you closer to rewards. The opportunities are indeed endless. As you've seen, the game does have a steep learning curve. It does require a huge time investment on your part. But in exchange, you get an absolutely stunning world full of mysteries and puzzles which can seem confusing at first, but when you get the taste of this world, it will shock you with how much originality this one little game can have. I like it for its slow pace with which it submerges you into a wonderfully complex world full of mysteries that elude most of the players even today. Of course, not everyone gets to solve them, because it's a slow burn kind of game, and therefore not for everyone. And to make your gaming experience even more pleasant, I'm going to tell you some riddles that you will have to solve while playing the Fallen London series. Why is it so difficult for people to die in Sunless Sea? Who is Mr. Eaton? What's the name of the daughter of the Fathom King? What are stars? And what's the secret of Nuncio? There are many mysteries, and some are buried so deep that you can't find them on the internet. I'm not joking, the developers were so competent that the community is still trying to find answers to many questions, and that, to me, is evidence of their brilliance. Wouldn't you like to try such a thing? Such games are far and few between, because it takes a lot of creativity to develop such complex lore and so many stories that you will witness in this game. This is a prime example of why video games are better than books. Being in interactive media, our imagination can run wild with all the amazing quests and places. You are the author, you write the story. You are only given a setting and a tool to surgically cut into its narrative. It is quite captivating because of that, and you will learn how to appreciate this game very quickly. It's not for everyone, that's for sure. For example, people with dyslexia will be just as confused as obese people at the salad bar. I jest. But really, you have to show some patience and be willing to lose yourself in this game for the first 10 to 15 hours. That much is given. You never know what to expect of a new place. The text format of quests allows developers to ignore the budget constraints, and so they can build any kind of event they want and make it as detailed as they want. The only limit is your ability to imagine things. Sometimes you don't even know what you can discover in a place you've already visited simply by fulfilling some small requirement for something. The world is yours to decipher. But it is really an enjoyable read/play. I can't call this game a visual novel, and not because there are no sex scenes in there. The combat does its thing and the economy system works alongside the enjoyable adventure. So go ahead, jump in, become a captain and serve on your vessel that sails across the sunless sea. Thanks for watching.